Yo, what's up? It's your boy Trevor David Jones, back up at it. And this is what we've all been waiting for. This is what we wanted, and it's here. Ahsoka. Yo, it's prime time. They broke their foot off in this, okay? This is legit. You can hear my voice. This is legit. Episode 1, titled Master and Apprentice, okay? So without further ado, let's jump right in with the positives. Okay, the opening was just dope. It started off with the eerie music, the drums in the background. It was just sick. It brought you into this very ethereal, kind of creepy, but very mysterious setting for what this show is going to be. I loved it. So they had the classic scroll. They brought in the Star Wars scroll. That's how you know you're getting into the element. We're getting into what we truly like. So that was cool. They threw the name Thrawn in there, who's going to appear several more times throughout these first 2 episodes. So from what I know about Thrawn, he's actually a Star Wars Legends character from the books. Very powerful. I read a few of the books back when I was a kid, but really read all of them. I know who Thrawn is, the blue skin, the red eyes, looks super creepy, kind of cool in his own way. But that's the extent of what I really know about him. Obviously throughout the series, he's going to be very apparent, but I'm familiar with the name Thrawn and we're introduced to it here. Okay, so the scroll cuts and the ship, the starship comes up. It was just beautiful. I love that in and of itself. That's how you know you got Dave Filoni. That's how you know you got Jon Favreau on the squad. Scale and beauty are just parts of the production in and of itself. I love that ship slowly gliding through space. That was awesome. It's art. You know, this is what we like to see. So we go to the starship and they announce some Jedi are close. And everyone on the ship, their head turned. I love that. If you hear the word Jedi, you know that either you're probably safe or you're in trouble. One of the two. But it was just yo, it's like a mystical word. Everyone just got tight real quick. That was funny. So the Jedi land and getting off the ship, the decompression, the steam, the hoods. Jedi are just epic no matter what. No matter what they do, they're just epic. And yeah, that entrance just proved it all over again. And just casually getting off a ship was just, it was like a star-studded event. So that's why this show was so dope, but we'll get more into that in a little bit. So the Jedi come up, just epic as usual. And as the captain just thinks that they're trying to dupe them, that they're bluffing. So he's like, y'all aren't Jedi. He was right about one thing. They aren't Jedi. They're actually Sith. Or the Sith fell with Palpatine in episode 6. We don't even, we didn't really get into the nuquels. But so these are just dark side Force users, basically. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to just call them Sith. We kind of know, but technically they're not Sith. But he was right. They're not Jedi, but they do use the Force. Then the Jedi the captain got classed on the spot, dead, boom. So they go into the ship, to complete their mission while basically taking out anyone who's in their way. And so they whip out the lightsabers. And this is what I was just saying a second ago, the Jedi. That's why this show is so dope, okay? There are a lot of reasons why it's dope, but really why it's dope is because they honed on, they know what we want to see. They know what we want to see. Jedi lightsaber action. We want to see some lightsaber action. And we got it, and we're getting it in this show. Cut the fluff, okay? Cut the nonsense. We don't want that. They're coming with what we want to see. Some lightsabers spinning, lighting up, cutting some stuff up. That's what we want to see. It's simple. It's not complicated. It's simple. Come on, man. Just break out the lightsabers. And that's what they did. That's what they're doing. And that is why the show is dope. So here we go. So they break them out. So they cut to the bridge, and the lieutenant, the second in command of the ship, has the nerve, the unmitigated gall to ask, how many are there? Girl, I don't care if it was half, 0.25 of a Jedi. You're toast. Why did she even ask that? How many are there? It's someone who can use the Force and have a lightsaber. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many there are. That line was just funny. And within 3 seconds of delivering it, she was on the floor too, dead. So come on, man. Yeah, I thought that was funny that they threw that in. How many are there? It's someone who can use the Force. You're toast. Hilarious line. So the Sith, they get to the reason why they were there, and they free this person from a cell. They were there to free this person, and they do it, and you know, disembark from the ship, and that closes the opening. Just have to say this off top, awesome opening, like truly amazing. It was this is how you start a show. It was just good. Not only was it good, it was awesome. Action. I was like, yeah, like you're hooked, you're in. So shout out, just dope. So now we get to probably who we want to see. You know who? Well, the title, the name of the show. We're here to the one and only Ahsoka, aka Rosario Dawson. Yo, good times. Okay, at this moment, it's time to get the show started. It's time. So Ahsoka's in this white like environment, a lot of white stones, and that's her color. So I love that. Thematic, art, all these things. She's surrounded by all the white objects. So you already know you're in the motif, the aesthetic of Ahsoka. I love that just off top. So then, as the scene gets going, Rosario Dawson takes that hood off. I almost lost my mind. Just off of that, the shot composition, Rosario, the whole thing, it's just too good. It's good. The drama, like I said, the motifs, man, yeah, that was dope. Just taking the hood off, sick. So, she's in this area, like some ruins, basically, and uses her lightsabers with telekinesis to just cut through the floor. It just opens, bro. I almost lost my mind yet again. This is like 10 minutes into the episode, maybe. You got Dave Filoni on the squad, Jon Favreau. They know what to do. And that's the thing about this show. It proved to me that they still know what to do. So what's going on with Marvel? I don't know. But that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother set of videos. So back on topic. So she uses the sabers to cut this hole in the floor with telekinesis. I was like, yo, this is what we want to see. Cut the nonsense. Like, this is it. They know what we're looking for. Super dope. So she goes through the floor. And I'm going to say this right now. Ahsoka going through the motions to figure out that puzzle, like decipher that puzzle underground, is one of the tightest things that I've seen in the Star Wars continuum. I'm talking all 9 films, all the side properties. You're like, oh, 2023, you know, is the best stuff. It really gonna happen like in the present? Yes, I'm not kidding. That was insane, bro. Like, it just shows you. Once again, you can't do anything to the Jedi. Like, what are you gonna do to him? She's a detective as well, like a legitimate one. Going through, like, ostensibly using the Force to, you know, decipher the locks. And, you know, that was a big puzzle. There was a lot of stuff up in there. Crack that mug. In every Star Wars property, that is one of the tightest things I've seen in any of them. Ahsoka cracking that puzzle. Okay, so she cracks it. She figures it out. And it reveals a map. A star map. Which has been an element in a few recent Star Wars properties. These star maps. But she gets it. And it pops out of the middle. I'm getting hot. Like, this show is crazy. So it comes out and she secures the reason why she was there. So she got the map. Pops out to the above ground. And there's some droids. Some droids. The fact that anything insists on fighting Jedi or a Force user in Star Wars at this point, like Ahsoka, because this is like post episode 6. I think it's before the Nucles. It's after Darth Vader and them for sure. So the fact that anything even attempts to fight a Force user, a Jedi, is laughable. It's really ridiculous. It's ludicrous at this point. They need a flee on sight order. Some Minato Namikaze stuff like, just run. There's nothing you can do here but the droids fighter, and they get classed dang near instantaneously. So, and I've said this many times before as well. Batman, Bruce Wayne, he has a tendency to find his way into any property, anything. Batman, if you look hard enough, he's somewhere in there. And yet again, Batman has found his way into something else. The way she took those droids out, bro, shout out Bruce Wayne, shout out Gotham City, like cutting the floor, start cutting the holes beneath them so they fall through. I'm like, yo, this is some Batman type stuff. You know, Jon Favreau and them like Batman, Dave Filoni, come on. Batman, he's a legend just in the continuum, in all of this, in Imaginist culture. So yeah, Batman 100% found his way into this. And that fight scene was just dope. She took him out clandestine and with force. It was sick. And there's a special note here I want to bring up, Rosario Dawson's expressions, because it pops up at numerous points during this first 2 episodes. Like, they're so on point. Like hilarious, poignant. Her expressions, the way she's showing what she's thinking without saying anything is just, it's almost worth watching the show just because of that. You know, so look out for her expressions. They're priceless. They're gold. And that brings kind of another related point with, you know, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and all them, that they do. Just put an A-list actor in the position that you're trying to do. Like a severely talented performer, just put them in that position and see what you get. That's a standard of Marvel. They're using it here in Star Wars. So it pays off. It does what it's supposed to do. Like yeah, her expressions, it's Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka. So y'all know what it is. We know what it is. Okay, so the droids initiate self-destruct. And do they initiate self-destruct? That was like a nuclear bomb. Like, it was just, by that point, 2 droids who were left, maybe 3. When she started running, I knew, I was like, wait. Because she could just use a force shield and just, I mean, an explosion to a Jedi, give me a break. No, she started running. And already I was like, what's about to happen? Oh, we saw. That self-destruct was not for the play. Yeah, that was intense. I don't know what those droids had going on in there. Probably something nuclear, but yeah, I can see why she ran. So she gets on the ship and she dips. So now we cut to space. And there's some X-Wings with some purple thrusters. I already told you about the color purple. It symbolizes enlightenment and truth. So there's going to be some truth. We've already seen some truth, you know, and enlightenment. Kind of just on the course of this. Found the map, Thrawn, you know, so on and so forth. But look out for elements of truth/enlightenment. Those purple thrusters. So at about this point, we get to the introduction of Sabine Wren, which coincides with the episode somewhat going off the rails a little bit. Not really the episode itself, but just like the things that happen within it. So they're at this like big speech, and Sabine Wren is supposed to be there, but she's not. So they cut to the desert. She's rolling out on a speeder. You know, they got the little rock music playing. And she's not obviously wanting to be at the speech. So she dodges 2 ships in true reckless fashion and gets back to her little tower where she just kind of hangs out. Okay. So, that's our introduction to her. Drink coffee. She's got some Mandalorian gear under there. And I like that actually, because the thing I like about Ahsoka as well is it's not a midquel. If you watch my channels, you know I'm not a fan of midquels. So this is like moving things forward. You got a Mandalorian. They have hinted at her ties to Ahsoka, so she might be a Jedi. We learn later what's going on. It's cool. It's something different. It's a new element. So I did like that. So now we cut back to the Sith, the dark side users, and they're with a homegirl that they freed from the prison. And we learn that they don't say it like blatantly, but they just bring it up in the conversation. She's a witch. So that's something new. It's probably in the Star Wars Legends in the books. But for me, for a lot of the people who watch these shows, you know, you don't know that there's like legit witches in the Star Wars universe. Again, that was cool. It's something new. In fact, she's a part of a group called the Night Sisters of Dathomir. Some Lord of the Rings type stuff. You know, they went deep with that. So yeah, I didn't have, and not only did I not have a problem with it, I liked it because it's something new. You know, it's something different. So we know a little bit more about this person. So now we cut back to Ahsoka and the meeting with Ren. They meet up, you know. They've been apart for a while. And obviously there's some tension. But we also learned pretty like casually during the course of this that they said earlier that the droid is about 500 years old. So it's like been training or been present for Padawan training, Jedi training for a long time. And he remarks to Ren, they're like catching up. He's like, yeah, and I still have 75% of my original parts. Excuse me? Like, what is this droid made of? I thought it was just some standard droid. Like, Ahsoka's rolling around with like a piece of Jedi history, like straight from the council. You know what I mean? Like, this droid is legit. Ahsoka's about that life, apparently. So I was like, man, like, this ain't just nothing made at the scrap. This is a legitimate droid. Very crazy. So she's got some gear. She's got some stuff going on. And then they have the major conflict. And obviously, Ren leaving with the map, leaving the ship, is completely ridiculous. Unbelievable, in fact. In the show, she's supposed to be an adult. Like, she's an adult. So, like, we know what's going to happen. But to see something like, I'm like, did she have a position in, you know, any sort of, like military organization? Or, like, what? That was insane. So she leaves the ship with the puzzle. Ahsoka tells her, like, this ain't no, like, mother-daughter type stuff. Like, girl, I'm trying to prevent a war. Just solve it here. And absconds with it without saying anything. And then the little general and the droid have the nerve to get on Ahsoka. But that's a different point. So Ren leaves with the puzzle, which leads to her solving the puzzle. But I'm gonna get to that in the room for improvement, because it's like a plot hole. But we're gonna get to that in a little bit. So she solves the puzzle. So obviously, as soon as she does that, you know, that cues the droids, the Sith to enter. They send the droids in there. She beats up the first droid with her bare hands. At first, I thought that was another plot hole, but then I was like, well, maybe she still has some access to the Force on some level. Obviously, she does, because she just beat up the first droid, like no lightsaber, nothing. She just fought it. So yeah, she still can command the Force. And she she comes up against the homegirl with the white hair, the other Sith, and she gets stabbed straight through the stomach. Falls to the ground. And that brings the episode to a close. Insane episode. They take the map as well. The Sith take the map. Yeah, I'm sweating because it was amazing. Yeah, they broke their foot off in this. They really did. So they roll the credits. I watched the credits, and shout out Dave Filoni. Directed, wrote, and created. Like, you got it. That's all you. Yeah, man, they know what's up. That's tight. Then they show the executive producers, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau. It's the hit squad. It's a hit squad. Like, what do you expect? You know this is going to be sick. They out here making moves. So, yeah. You definitely, in today's day and age of Marvel and all this stuff, you got to watch the credits. You got to know who's on it, because it's going to let you know, what you're dealing with. And yeah, man, they're about that life. So on to the room for improvements. The only major room for improvement, which is pretty major but also pretty hilarious, is the puzzle. Okay? The star map. All right? Ren figuring out that map is... Her taking the map was just annoying and also ridiculous, but her figuring it out was a plot hole. Bro. So she gets back to her little tower, which is... I'm not even going to get on that tower. So she goes to the tower, and, she's sitting there looking at it. She's got her other little cat with her little chicken cat, bird cat. She's looking at the sphere. She's trying to figure it out. She's trying to see what's up. And, they've stated that she's like an artist. So, the realization gradually comes to her, and at the moment you're like, oh, I get it. So she goes and picks it up. You're thinking it's going to be like a key, anything, something. Listen to me. She takes the edges of some of the parts of the sphere and just rotates them, okay? Rotates them. And you can see from the show, there's 3 positions that each edge can rotate to. But she's looking at the little map and just rotates them and locks them into place to mirror her little hologram that she's looking at. And that solves the puzzle. It wasn't a moment of almost turning off the episode, but I actually got mad. I got mad. She just twisted it! It wasn't like, if there was no extra element, like you had to like drop this in. She figured out how, maybe it was stuck, so you had to figure out even how you had to get to the point to twist it. No! She just twisted the things! Yo, they showed that there were 3 positions that each thing could lock into. So there were 3 things that could be twisted. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. There are only 27 possible permutations that the sphere could go into. You could just be sitting there trying to twist it, playing with it, and figure out the right combination. The droid couldn't do that. The 500-year-old droid couldn't put that sphere together. Ahsoka could have done it. She figured out the puzzle in the actual shrine, which was like, man, 1,000 times more difficult, because it insinuated that it was like a lock that you had to hear, you know, maybe some tumblers, or you had to actually put it into position. She did that in like a matter of minutes by herself, like just did it. The little thing, it was a plot hole. Does it break the episode? No, not at all. But it was just completely ridiculous. So I'm wondering what that droid is good for. Okay, that puzzle was not only unsolvable, it was like a toy for a child. Room for improvement. Okay, the rating of 5 out of 5. Yeah, easy 5 out of 5. It's an easy 5 out of 5. I don't have to think about it. You ain't even got to ask twice. Like, it's just a 5 out of 5. The cinematography, top notch. The music. No, this stuff isn't top notch. It's superlative. It's past top notch. The music, superlative. That opening music. The pacing, essentially perfect. The action. That's why this episode is so tight. The show is so tight. It's giving us what we want. Lightsaber action. Has that. The acting. Man, the acting. Solid. Ren, she's pretty good. She's pretty good. But that being said, everyone else, the acting is OP. And especially Rosario Dawson. Man. Yeah. I mean, she's been Ahsoka since the show, the animated show. She's the voice of Ahsoka, so they know what's up. Her in that role is just, it's like too good. And she has like, you know, an acceptable like amount of dialogue. Like she's not talking too much or like talking not enough. She doesn't like, it's not even driven just by her saying a whole bunch of stuff. Just her being on screen, the robes, the expressions. Rosario Dawson. Legit. This is how it had to be. So yeah, easy 5 out of 5. The puzzle was, it is a plot hole. It is. I'm gonna call it when I see it. It's not a story-breaking plot hole. It's more of like a plot hole of the comedic variety, but a plot hole nonetheless. Yeah, man. This got the show off to a great start. So now, since they had a double episode, I'm sitting here sweating. Since they had a double episode, a double feature, as it were, we're gonna review both of those together, and I'm glad they did this. So that moves us on to the second episode, Toil and Trouble. Okay, a little twist and turns. All right. So no, this episode was just as epic as the first. It was sick, super dope. Let's jump right in with the positives. So they reveal very early on that the map points to another galaxy, and I think Ahsoka said that in the first episode. No, I believe she did actually. So Thrawn's in another galaxy. Okay. That's disturbing for a couple of reasons, all right? Number one, galaxies aren't close to each other by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I believe in Star Wars Legends, eventually a threat comes from another galaxy, and that was really shocking to everyone, like including Luke Skywalker, because it was like, how is that even possible? And there were like some monsters, like some sort of like beast. But yeah, they came from another galaxy, so that's just crazy in and of itself. In our timeline, the main 616 universe, in the real world, the Andromeda Galaxy, which is the closest, is like to the Milky Way galaxy, is like 250 million light years away. Okay? That's like an infinite distance. It doesn't, saying the number doesn't even, it's so far away that, yeah, you know. Watching Star Wars, everything that's ever happened, like that we've watched, happens in their galaxy. Traveling between galaxies is just somewhere way out there. So yeah. So he's in another galaxy. So that's obviously a big deal. And we learn later in the episode how they even plan to contact him, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Secondly, so the first issue is galaxies aren't close to each other. The second thing is This man was so dangerous or so powerful, so crazy that they had to imprison him in another galaxy? Are y'all trying to bring him back? And that gets into another point of the episode, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So, at this point, you know, Ren's laid up in the hospital. She got herself stabbed in the stomach, you know, trying to be particular about solving that puzzle. So she can't really move. So Ahsoka just gets a little info out of her. She does tell her she unlocks the puzzle. She unlocked it. So Ahsoka's like, oh, that's cool. Get some info, but she's like, yo, I need to go, I need to get something tangible. No, we need to get the show on the road. So she goes to Sabine's tower, that darn tower, to investigate. And yeah, man, again, another just tight scene. Dope. This is what we want to see. You know, Rosario's in there looking super cool as usual, chilling, kind of hanging out. Oh, you know, this tower's a little messy, but hey, you know, sun's shining. I'm living my life, living my Jedi white lightsaber life. Rolling in there, and the remaining droid, which Ren told her about, pops out through the ceiling. So, as it should happen in the Star Wars continuum, Ahsoka classes this droid in like a microsecond. Just obliterates it. That's what you want to see. That's what would happen. Disposes of it instantaneously. You ain't messing with no Jedi, bro. Like, give me a break. So she just wrecks it, like, completely on the spot. So the droid is toast, and she, and if you watch the scene again, which is really, really gorgeous scene, she's smiling, like, smiling after she beats it. Similar to, and I brought this up in my other reviews, The Flash, Grant Gustin, and like Thor. If you watch what they're in, the movies and the TV shows, they'll be fighting people and smiling because they've reached such a level of power that it's literally like, there's no way this isn't going to end badly, you know, for me. Especially watch The Flash. As that show continues, he's running and like smiling, you know, fighting people with a smirk on his face. What are you going to do to me? But like for real though. So yeah, they put that, she classes droid, she's like, she's smiling. The Flash and Thor. There's nothing you can do to me right now, okay? So I love that. So she brings the head back to the hospital room, to Ren and Huyang, and this isn't a room for improvement. There is a room for improvement here in the dialogue. I'm gonna get to that later. But when they bring it to her, this is just another bizarre scene, kind of on the puzzle. They're like, oh, if I hook the power up to the droid, then I can, you know, activate the memory core and I can tell where it came from. And Huyang was like, oh man, that's so clever. Is it? I was like, what are y'all talking about? I feel like literally, I'm not a hater. Y'all know my videos, I'm not a hater. But I feel like any child could get the core and be like, oh, if we just turn it on, we can see at the very least what the droid saw. Or like, hey man, we can just trace it back to where it came from. He was like, oh, that's you know, that's very intelligent. Okay. Okay. Secondly, the droid couldn't do that. When the show started and they mentioned he was 500 years old and he had the 75% original parts from back in the, that's crazy. Like that's not for those. This droid is made of some like solid stuff. I'm like, this droid's legit. Is he? The droid. I'm pretty sure I've seen C3PO and R2D2 like hacking other droids, figure out like complicated information on the spot. Like, oh, I got you. And it's not a big deal. It's like, oh, you know, we'll just do it. They were like, she is a genius for thinking of this. And then the droid himself is standing around the corner like, oh yeah, good job. You're a robot. So, nah, I didn't. That part was bizarre. It was a little strange. So it's not quite a room for improvement, but it was, I'm gonna get to the room for improvement for the dialogue itself in a second, but we'll get to that in a second. Crazy part. So after nearly averting an explosion from overloading the core of the droid, they do figure out where it came from. A planet called Cetos, which they're going to go to. So now we cut to the Darksiders, to the Sith. And what was actually a very interesting scene. So they have the map, and the witch activates it. She has like a terminal, you know, like really some ruins that she can activate the map from to see, you know, to show what's inside there. And she reveals, they reveal more of the plan. So it was cool. The map activation scene, you know, goes in and like activates it. There's like a little laser, brings up a whole star map. I'm guessing like multiple galaxies. And yeah, you know, she's like, okay, this is what's about to go down. So it points laser directly to where Thrawn is, like literally in this other galaxy, like presumably like just where he is. So there you go. So she goes with the whole plan. And this one starts really like kind of a funny part of the episode if you're watching. So the witch is like, oh yeah, he's out there. We're gonna bring him. You know, Thrawn's coming back. The return. So after seeing all this, the white-haired girl, the other Sith, you can see her face, like the acting, the direction. You can see her face. She's like, trying to tell me this man was he's imprisoned in another galaxy. I'm looking at the map. He's not close. And they also reveal they're going to teleport him there. And that just shows like how insane intergalactic travel is. Like there's no like, oh, we're going to go pick him up and bring him back to the house. No, we just got some sort of method just to beam him here, because going there or like traveling there is not even like a realistic proposition. So that just doubled down on that point on how far galaxies are away from each other. So she sees the beam, sees the map, and you see the girl's face. She's like, so you're trying to tell me, like this man he's like literally locked up, banished, not down the street in another galaxy, and we're going to bring him here? You could just see her face like, y'all sure about this? Like, it was hilarious to watch. And she even asked homeboy, the master, you know, her trainer or whatever. She was like, so, you know, if we do bring Thrawn here, like, what do we get? Like, you can see her trying to be like, what are y'all about to do? So she's like, what are we going to get out of this? She's like, power beyond your wildest imagination. And she's still like, okay. I'm calling it right here on August 24th. No, today's the 25th, 2023 at the time of recording this. I think she's going to turn. She's going to turn to to help the heroes. I'm calling it right now on the second episode review. Her face, she was just like, oh, I didn't know that all this was about to happen. We might need to just leave him in that galaxy. I can do some push-ups. I can get power on my own. Like, I got this. I think she's going to turn. Okay. So now we cut back to the Republic planet with Ahsoka and the General, who's kind of been giving her a hard time over the course of these two episodes, specifically over the case of Ren, but we'll get to that in a second. But they're on this planet. So I also like the scene because it showed like forward motion in the series. They have all these old school Imperial, you know, Star Destroyers, various ships in a shipyard, and they're just breaking them down. They sell the parts, they're building new things. It's cool because you want to know like what's happening after the events of the OG Star Wars and so on and so forth. I'm a big fan of that in any series, forward motion. Like what's happening next? Like when they introduce new elements. And all the time, it doesn't even have to be like the most like crazy or like, you know, out there type thing. If it's like new or like different, you know, I'm usually down for it. So, but this is also good. It's like, okay, they're breaking the ships down. Things are actually happening. So I thought that was really cool. So they've got all these ex-Imperials on the staff, which poses its own issues for obvious reasons. I mean, give me a break, which we're going to find out about very soon. So they cut back to Ahsoka and the General. And like I've said, I said this in the first episode review, you've got to watch Ahsoka's Rosario Dawson's expressions. They're worth the episodes just by themselves. Just look at her face. Look at her face. Look at her face. But yeah, her expressions. So the General says something to her. She's like, oh yeah, how do you know when you're ready? In reference to Sabine Wren. Which he's been giving her a hard time about, you know, through these first two episodes. And they cut to Ahsoka and her face, she's just like, bro, you can't teach someone to make that expression. That's natural. That's knowledge. So, yeah, man, just her saying things without saying it, literally priceless. Yeah, man, Rosario Dawson's expressions in this show are like a key element of the show. Legit. So look out for that. So now we cut back to the hospital. And, man, Ren is patched up. She's patched up. Shout out to that. That's real healing. Because she got stabbed straight through her stomach, through her abdomen. Okay? You know, a little scar. She should be dead. All right? She should be dead. But she's patched up. Real healing. No back to tank. Hey, man, they got the gas up in there. I got to give them that. And this brings us to her little conversation with the droid. So everybody is step by step trying to get in the game, you know, figure themselves out and move the plot along. So Ren's particular journey is to get back with Ahsoka and obviously, you know, start using the Force again, become a Jedi, so on and so forth. But she's got an attitude. Ahsoka, I don't know if she has an attitude per se, but, you know, she's kind of like not bothered by the whole situation. But Ren has her feelings about the situation. So she's talking to the droid and she's like, she never asked me to come back. And the droid's like, to be fair, you know, did you ever signal that you wanted to come back? See, that's some wisdom. The droid might have done his first useful thing. No, he did. I think he did something in episode 1. But he did one of his first useful things of the whole show. So he's like, hey, man. There takes 2 to tango. Did you say you ever wanted to come back? Ren's face was like, all right. And she says something to the effect of, I don't know if I could, or something like that. And this comes out with what is literally, I'm not saying this just to say it or no. In 2023, August 2023, one of the funniest lines in the entire Star Wars continuum. I'm talking everything. I'm talking movies, you know, animated shows, everything. This droid goes, he says, well, your aptitude with the Force. He goes, I've trained a lot of Padawans over the years, centuries, and your aptitude with the Force, without question, falls short of them all, bro. To say I busted out laughing is a severe understatement. Like, give me a break. Who wrote that? It's one of the funniest lines that's ever been in any Star Wars property. Real comedy. That man said, yeah, man, you're the worst. Worst. Oh, yeah. The show really impressed me in that moment because if you watch my reviews again, you know I love levity, love comedy. And yeah, not only was that funny, it's one of the funniest lines to ever be put into a Star Wars property. Without question. Shout out to that. This is just a great show. I mean, like, that's what you want. So now we go back to the planet, to the Republic planet, and Ahsoka and the general are looking at this hyperdrive. The guy's explaining to her, yeah, we got the hyperdrive off the ship, blah, 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 blah. But a ship, it has it roped up and is about to fly off the planet with the hyperdrive. And the general's like, what is this? What is this going into? Give me the info. So this causes too many questions to be asked and everything pops off real quick. Dude hops up for the console for the Empire. Obviously, again, they have ex-Imperials working on Imperial technology in the present, like, or they're in the in a military capacity at all. Conflict of interest. But we knew that was going to happen. So, and it did. It popped off real quick. But obviously, they can't do anything to Ahsoka. It's, you know, come on now. Y'all need to stand down. Minato Namikaze, flee on sight. It's a Jedi. So again, Batman finds his way back into this episode when Ahsoka does the lightsabers and breaks through the window and like jumps out. Cowl, you know, cape flying behind her. It's Batman. It's Batman. Like, this is what it's all about. So Batman can find his way into any property. He will find his way into any property. And the scene was just dope as well. So she goes down, and on the, you know, the bridge kind of by the ships, there's a Jedi and a droid. They're you know, they're trying to stop her from reaching her goal. And Jedi action, man. This is what we want. It was tight. They know what to do. They know what to put in here. So they're squabbing, they're getting it in. Yeah, and for all accounts, the fight actually took too long. She should have defeated them in like a second, maybe 2 seconds. You know what I mean? The other guy, who knows? She was trained by Anakin. I don't care who this guy is. Like, come on, bro. Come on. So the fight did take a little too long, but for the purposes of the actual show itself, that's what it had to be. So I get it. But yeah, man, more lightsaber action, more Jedi action. That's what we want to see. It was dope. So we go see Sabine Wren, and she has her like transformation. She cuts her hair, so on and so forth. And the scene where she sends the hologram to Ahsoka and is like, you know, I'm ready. That scene was dope. Again, I'm not a hater. It was just dope, man. It somewhat redeems her crazy behavior earlier. Somewhat. Strong somewhat. But the scene itself was just great. She's like, yeah, man, let's get it. Let's get it. You know, I'm over my what have you. We can, you know, we can get back on the road. Let's do this. That was a cool scene. That was a cool scene. That being said, the people, the Imperials, the dark side people did make it off the planet with the hyperdrive. However, the general put a tracer on their ship, so, you know, they're going to figure it out, which they do. So that's a good thing. That's a very good takeaway. So we cut back to more or less the final scene of the episode where the witch is talking to the Sith. They're like, oh, you know, blah, blah, blah. So the plot's popping off at this point. They have the hyperdrive, which I'm guessing they need to power the device or the engine to bring Thrawn to them. So they've got it. They're being traced. I'm not sure if they're aware of that yet, but they have the hyperdrive. But they know that Ahsoka's on the trail. The Sith guy knows. He's looking a little shook, looking a little concerned, as some might say. The witch is like, what's the problem? We good. Take her out. That's how you know. Not everyone even really... There are so few Jedi that I guess people don't really know what they're about, or maybe they have to write it into the show to make it seem plausible. I'm not sure. She's like, no big deal. It is a big deal. It's a huge deal. Number one, the Sith guy was like, you know, killing a Jedi, it's a shame. She's like, you're being sentimental. He's like, you know, it's not sentimentality, it's the truth. You know, there are so few Jedi left. That's even if you can. So the first issue is he's already showing signs of kind of sort of not even wanting to do it. So you've got that going for you. But also the true cause of concern, you can see in his face like, yo, this is supposed to be clandestine. This is supposed to be secret. We've got a Jedi on our case. This is about to be a disaster. This might not pop off. He's probably full well. He's like, yo, I don't know who she can call, but she can call somebody. We, the audience, know she can call Luke. She can get Luke on the hotline. Luke Skywalker and be like, yo, it's about to pop off. Case, they have the tracer on them. They know where they are, okay? When he found out, he's like, oh, man, the Jedi are on our trail. You can see his stress. The witch was like, we're good. He was like, but we're not, though. Now we have an issue. Because y'all know how Jedi are, man. Especially with some Sith, you can lose your life. These are death battles like, man, they be out there squabbing, bro. So, nah. You know, Ahsoka can call Luke. Yo, yeah, man. It's about to go downhill for them really quick. And he knows it. But that's cool. That's a part of the show. That's a part of the action. It was just interesting to legitimately to see his concern. He's like, oh, man, Ahsoka's on the trail. He was showing some sentimental nature about even potentially having to kill her if he even could. But he's just like, now we got some issues. Now we got some problems. So that pretty much, that scene brought the episode to a close. Another stellar episode. Room for improvements. Really the only thing in this is not in all places at all, but in certain places, the dialogue is specifically between the general and Ahsoka. It's like just a bit circuitous the way that they're speaking. She's like, well, you should know this. And it's just kind of weird. A little odd whenever they start speaking. And then one thing that I just personally was kind of weird was they're like ganging up on Ahsoka. She's like trying to be like, oh, you know, this is what we should do, blah, blah, blah. In the first episode, they were like, well, maybe she needed more space to think in reference to Ren taking the puzzle to her place. Like, yeah, she has to figure it out. And they're like, oh, you need to like think about, like, yo, chill. It y'all need to relax. Like, why are y'all so aggressive? Do y'all want to be Jedi? Probably pretty cool. But Ahsoka also said there's nothing easy about being a Jedi. I'm sure there's not. But yeah, man, the dialogue, just a little bit circuitous, especially between her and the general. And also, why are they ganging up on Ahsoka? Like, give me a break. The rating for this episode, a 5 out of 5. An easy 5 out of 5. It was beautiful. It's gorgeous. This is what you want to see. It's all in there. It's dope. The cinematography is super sick. There's no scene where the cinematography isn't at a superlative level, like past A level. It's just way out there. The intrigue, you know, especially for people that maybe haven't read the Legends books or fully like been engrossed in all that. Who is Thrawn? What is his level of power to where he had to be locked in another galaxy? You know, we know how they're going to get him. Are more Jedi coming into the show? More than likely. I mean, come on, give me a break. So there's a lot of, y'all know from my My Hero reviews, I love mystery, where you can't exactly predict the outcome of a show. So that's what's happening here. We've got the intrigue. The action, again, they brought in, honestly, that's why the show is, in my view, so successful, just 2 episodes in, is that it's got what we wanted. Just lightsaber action, fighting with lightsabers. Like, come on, man. Like, that's what we want to see. That's what we want in the episode, and we've got it. So that's another great thing. And of course, Rosario Dawson, give me a break. All the acting is good. All the acting is good, but she's a great leading lady, a great leading, you know, actress. And it just, yeah, man, her expressions, her ease of doing the action, her like super cool demeanor, but still like, I'll, you know, F you up in a second, which she can and will. Just sick. Perfect role for the voice back in Star Wars, Clone Wars, live action. Even like legitimately even better. Like not kind of better, just better. So yeah, Ms. Rosario Dawson, key part of the show, great person to be in this role as well as just on the screen. Yeah. 5 out of 5. Easy. Shout out Dave Filoni. Shout out Jon Favreau, big homie. Shout out Rosario Dawson. Amazing show. And that's it. That's it. We did a double feature. We made it through 2 reviews of 2 episodes. That was sick. Yes. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. Obviously, I'm excited to see. I'm going to have all the reviews for all the episodes, so we'll see how this all shakes out. My other videos. Secret Invasion. Great quality. No one's ever going to question the production quality of Secret Invasion. It was superlative. But the show itself, the plot, come on, man. But check out my review. You know, check that out. If you're in the Marvel Continuum, worth a watch. You know, check it out. So watch that video. I recently did a reaction on the reveal of Raven and Azucena from Tekken 8. Y'all know I'm in the video game as well, so check that out. The 9th generation of games, the graphics are just outstanding. They're amazing. Watch that video. Both of those trailers are amazing. Azucena, one of the best trailers I've seen in my life. Again, I know that sounds silly, like 2023, like you out here saying a trailer's the best trailer. Yeah, top 10, top 15, like for sure. Just it was very creative. Yeah, check out that video as well. And yo, man, we back. It's late August. The summer is kind of coming to a close. Now we got like a month left of summer. September 21st, the beginning of fall. So we're getting there. The heat it's supposed to die down soon. So, you know, we're crossing the fall. The year is entering its crescendo, as it were. Keep watching the videos. We out here. We're always in the YouTube game forever. Doing it big. As I always say, because I mean this, and I don't play around when I say this, stay up. You never want to be this way in life. Always this way, okay? Take that to the bank. We out here. And until I see you on the next one, which will be very soon, you know we doing it big. You know we out here. You know we swinging lightsabers. You know we flexing. Rosario Dawson. Peace!